When you're selling your home, trust is an important issue. And we found that we really could trust Jayson and his judgment and his team from start to finish. And that really helped us through the process quite a bit. If we found that he wasn't capable of dealing with certain issues, or he floundered or didn't give us responses when we needed response in a time frame we needed responses by, but we never had that problem. So trust is earned, and Jayson truly earned it. And I can say that at least in our case, it was very comforting to have an agent represent us that we could trust and trust their judgment and know that he had our best interest at heart, and he did.
We had, I think, 4 excellent realtors before Room Real Estate. They were unable to sell our property, I think, because of its remote location. The fact that we had beautiful gardens, but it was an immense amount of work to keep it up.
I heard about Room Real Estate from our prior agent. Actually, it was the second listing I had with that agent, and she felt that our property was just too unique. It was a little unusual, and she didn't have the bandwidth to properly handle the property, and she recommended that I contact Jayson over at Room Real Estate and list through him. What made Room Real Estate and its services stand out from other options were, number one, Jayson was always available to us, and that was a surprise. We had our property listed off and on over a 4 or 5 year period, and we weren't able to, in fact, we never got an offer, but it was a beautiful, unique property. But Jayson was available, and quite frequently, prior agents, it would be a day or two before we would get through.
Room Real Estate also stood out because their team was deep. I mean, not only did they have a photographer, they have a photography staff. If you have questions about closing or any of those things, they have several people that can answer those questions.
What we needed help with, and why we contacted Room Real Estate, is that we had our property listed over a 4 or 5 year period, several times with 2 or 3 different agents. But we came to realize that while our property looked like a 5-star resort, beautiful, mature palm trees all over, water features, it was ridgetop property, panoramic ocean views, flat usable land, all types of fruiting trees, a vineyard, world-class astronomical observatory. While it had all that, it had a couple of disadvantages. One was the access to it. It was a long commute to get to anywhere. And the other was fire danger, because it was out in the woods and people were becoming more and more fearful of fire. And so those 2 concerns required the special expertise of a team that was familiar with dealing with mountain properties and the issues involved.
Room Real Estate had quite a wonderful team, and Jayson, who is in charge of Room Real Estate, the owner, he always came himself to show the property. He did not, send someone else who was not familiar with the property to show it, and he did not ask us to show it, and that was very helpful. And also because they screened the clients that they brought up to make sure that the people who were coming up could afford to buy it. We're interested in horticulture and interested in astronomy, because we have an astronomical observatory and 300 fruiting trees and bushes. So it's a lot for anyone to handle who is a possible purchaser.
Whereas our property had been on the market for some time, we had an offer through Room Real Estate within 4 days. Everything that you need, from all the PR materials, the photography, marketing, Jayson himself, other agents, all top quality. And we really were satisfied with Room Real Estate start to finish.
Another thing that we really liked about Room Real Estate was that Jayson was so involved in every aspect. I think he would come up and with 1 or 2 members of his team and say, talk to us and see what we wanted, and he'd have his ideas, and then he would direct them on how he wanted them to carry out.
Whenever we had an extra request that to me was beyond what was required for a realtor to do, Jayson and team always were accommodating to us, did whatever we wanted. And one of the things that really surprised me was that Jayson was our agent, and he showed up for every potential buyer who was interested in the property. He showed it personally. We didn't have to show it with some of our prior agents. They would call and say, we're busy, could you show it to this person? And we'd end up having to show the property. I really didn't like to do that. So we never had to do that with Jayson. His team always covered for us. The other thing that I really liked were the quality of the people on the team from start to finish. The realtors that are associated with him, his marketing people, his photography people, everything, legal advice, everything we got was fantastic.
One thing I really would like to stress is that it's a very competent team. And we had some things happen that we weren't expecting to happen. Jayson it didn't seem to bother him. He would just smile and say, well, this is not my first rodeo, and here's what we need to do to proceed. And so we did those things, and everything turned out very well. So I can't say enough good things about Room Real Estate. I would definitely recommend Room Real Estate if you're planning on selling a house in the future, because they have a team that can handle all the unique instances of things that come up that you're not expecting on a real estate sale. If you have a home in a regular suburban neighborhood that's kind of cookie cutter, then you can go with another team or another real estate agency. But with Room, they're really equipped to handle all the things that may come up, the curveballs that can be thrown at you at the last minute. And because their team is in-depth, they cover everything from photography to advertising to showing of the property, any questions you have about financing and the close and making copies of everything you need. They just handle everything, and they handle it in depth, and the people do it with a great attitude. They seem almost pleased to do whatever it is that you need to have them do, and rather than thinking about, oh, I can't fit that into my schedule, which is true if you're a smaller real estate group, because there's only so much of a person. But when a person's got a big team, then they can handle it. And Madani Real Estate has a big team, and they're very professional, and every one of them is a star.